Pretty good start. We got to get going in a few areas, and we will. It's pretty early in the season, so I think guys are doing a good job of getting their work in, doing their normal routine, and eventually the cream always rises to the top.
And the Astros have been part of that cream the last 5 years. Good evening, everybody. Welcome once again to the Fox 26 Sportstream. As always, I'm Sumlin, sports producer here at Fox 26. That was Alex Bregman just a few hours ago as the team was getting set to take the field for their home opener. Hard to believe, almost 10 games in, and the Stros had yet to play inside Minute Maid Park. That all changes tonight. The Halos in town. First pitch set for any moment right now. They are on the field wrapping up their pre-game ceremony. As you heard Alex refer to the cream rises to the top. Well, for each of the past 5 years, the Astros have been in the American League Championship Series, of course, winning it 3 times, going to the World Series, winning it all in 2017. So they're going to get their 2021 AL Championship rings, unveil the pennant out in left field before the game. And like I said, they're getting set for first pitch any moment now. So we will update you as things chug along. Luis Garcia against Michael Lorenzen inside the juice box tonight. But obviously, plenty of fanfare, plenty of reason for excitement, even though maybe the Stros aren't 9-0 after that road game to start the year. And you can kind of scratch your head if you're an Astros fan when you saw them struggling against a rookie yesterday on Easter in their rubber match up in Seattle. No reason for alarm. Here's a look at the standings for the division entering tonight. The Stros just half the game behind the Angels, who, oh, by the way, are without Mike Trout tonight. He got hit on the hand over the weekend, so he's day-to-day, but not in the lineup tonight. But just like we talked about last week, in April, even in May, you can't win the division, but you can lose it. And just because the Stros only went 5-4 on their West Coast road trip, I mean, most managers would sign up for a 500 road trip of that length at any point in the season. No reason for alarm. I understand that some of the big names like Jose Altuve, Kyle Tucker aren't hitting up to their typical back of the baseball numbers. But remember, it was an abbreviated and then ramped up spring training. And then they had to open up on the road. And oh, by the way, the biggest slugger in their lineup, Jordan Alvarez, missed time as he was battling illness. He is healthy and is in the lineup tonight as the designated hitter for the Stros. So no reason to panic. Right now, there's really no team in the American League that you look at and go, oh my goodness, look at the start they're off to. Nobody's going to be able to catch them. A lot of baseball still to be played. Let's hear some more from the guys at the clubhouse, specifically 2 of the leaders of this team, Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve, on the start the Astros have gotten off to and hoping to get back to a 6th consecutive ALCS this year.
We feel very proud about it, and we, once in a while we talk about this, and we take that as encouragement to keep playing hard, to keep, winning division. Obviously, we got a long season, and we have to play against really, really good teams, and nothing's guaranteed. But we got the team, we want to go out there and play, and that's what we're gonna do.
We've missed the fans here at Minute Maid Park a lot. Just the excitement in the area, it's great, and looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun day today, and long season. This is game 10, but it's definitely awesome to be back playing in front of them. No, yeah, it's been great. We got some new faces in here, some guys who have already came in and stepped up in a big way and contributed to helping win some big league baseball games. So, we're excited about this team. We're excited about the players in this clubhouse, and definitely excited to be able to play in front of such great fans here tonight.
Just okay, just steady at bats. Feel good enough to ramp it up and get some hits and start winning some games.
So certainly a lot of veteran composure there from Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman. And if there's one player in baseball that you don't have to be worried about, why aren't the numbers matching up to the back of the baseball card, it is Jose Altuve. And so even though he is one of a few Astros whose maybe their average is down, the power numbers haven't been there that first week of the season, you don't need to worry about Tuve. You don't need to worry about Yuli Gurriel, the reigning American League batting champ. Those guys have played a whole heck of a lot of baseball. So obviously 9 games out of 162, no reason to hit the panic button right now. A few other news and notes heading into this homestand. The team, as I mentioned, officially activated Yordan Alvarez as he was dealing with a non-COVID illness during that road trip. He's back, says he's feeling good, and is in the lineup tonight. To make room for him, the team placed Lance McCullers Jr. on the 60-day injured list. We heard from James Click right before the season saying that they're just now starting to get Lance into a throwing program, and then it's going to have to be a typical ramp up as though you were starting in spring training. So remember, pitchers and catchers would always report much earlier than everybody else to start getting themselves warmed up and stretched out. So no surprise that you're not going to see Lance McCullers Jr., until a couple months from now. And then Ryan Presley placed on the injured list over the weekend. It's backdated to the 14th. He's dealing with right knee inflammation. You saw he didn't quite have his typical stuff out there with his last outing against the Mariners. And so the Stros are hoping that just giving him some rest and a chance for things to die down, he'll be back to his typical all-star self. But just as we talked about during spring training, leading up to this season, and really going back to last year, the American League is a lot more open than it's been in, say, 2017 when the Stros won it all, 2018 when they had arguably their best regular season in team history. Certainly from a wins-loss perspective, there's a whole lot more parity in the AL now. And I mean, we haven't even talked about some of the typical contenders outside the division, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Rays. And like I said, no one in baseball has gotten off to this 10-0 start where everybody's just mashing and nobody's scoring against them or anything like that. But just within the Astros' own division, the American League West has a lot more top to bottom talent, at least in this early part of the season, than we've seen the last few years. So you're probably going to have more series like we saw this past weekend when the Stros went on the road, dropped 2-3 to the Mariners. You're not going to have 2, 3, 4 teams in the division that are just kind of pushovers, at least not right now. We'll have to see as the season gets going, and then you really start to get into the dog days in late July and August, and how do some of these younger ball clubs stack up. But Jose Altuve spoke about that before batting practice today, the fact that it's not going to be such a walk in the park navigating the AL West this season. Here's what the Astros second baseman had to say.
Nothing's guaranteed. We played the Angels. They look really good. They probably have the best 1, 2, 3 in baseball game, which is, Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon. They're really good. And we just went to Seattle, and they look good too. They got a great team, and obviously we have to play hard to beat those guys, and just go from there.
A lot of things can change between now and when you start to get into when it really matters what the standings look like. But for right now, there's going to be a lot more parity early on than perhaps we're typically used to seeing. Now, one of the bright spots for the Astros to open this 2022 campaign has been the play of their rookie shortstop, Jeremy Pena, who is quickly making Houston fans go Carlos, who absolutely ripping the cover off the ball, flying all over the field, got his first career triple yesterday, doing it, of course, on defense, had a beautiful sliding catch over the weekend, tracking a ball down into shallow left field and catching it over his shoulder. So we knew the glove was there, and thus far the defensive metrics have measured up, and the bat has come around. Now, obviously, there will be an adjustment at some point as more and more pitchers see more of Jeremy Pena, and then vice versa. How does he adjust? But right now, the kid has been everything and then some that the Astros have wanted him to be. Here's Jeremy and his teammates on his start to 2022.
I want to surprise myself. You know, this is what we work for. We put the work in to perform, so we're just going to show up every single day, ready to give it all, and let the results take care of themselves.
He's done a great job. He's played solid defense, swung the bat really well, and run the bases really well. So, it's been fun being able to play with him, and looking forward to him having a big year.
It's been tremendous. Just being around these players every single day, the way they show up, ready to compete and get better. It's easy to get better when you're around them. So, looking forward to learning more from them.
Jeremy's great. He's talented. He's very humble. He's been playing great, and I think that's the Jeremy we're going to see for a long time.
And just to update you now that action has started at Minute Maid, scoreless, they're still in the top of the first, but this is what you want if you're an Astros fan. Luis Garcia striking out the first two batters of the game, including Shohei Ohtani leading things off. So off to a good start. The pitching staff, just as Jeremy Pena has been the bright spot on the offensive side, really everyone on the pitching staff has been tremendous for the Astros, especially that starting rotation. Obviously, they're going to have to figure some things out with Jake Odorizzi, who did not look as comfortable in his second outing as he did in his first. But remember, the Astros have some depth. And once Lance McCullers Jr. comes back, that's just another weapon that they can work into the starting rotation. But Justin Verlander was vintage Verlander on Saturday night. First pitcher in the American League to go beyond 7 innings. Pitched 8 shutout innings, struck out 8. And you have to think that once you get deeper into the year, he starts to feel more comfortable and stretched out. As remember, he's still recovering from Tommy John surgery. That's a game that he likely would have finished, because I believe he was pulled with only 83 pitches thrown. Of course, everybody in baseball saw Clayton Kershaw pulled in the middle of a perfect game because of pitch count. That's just one of the many casualties of the lockout and the abbreviated spring training, then ramping things up really quickly. Pitchers are not stretched out to what they are typically used to doing. And then, of course, in the case of JV, coming off Tommy John surgery and essentially missing the last 2 years, they're going to be smart with him. So that's why he just went 8 innings. But if this is September, October, and he's dealing like that, the Astros are going to be feeling very good about themselves. One person who is feeling very good about Justin Verlander is the person who is signing his checks and gave him that big contract in the offseason. That, of course, is team owner and chairman Jim Crane. Our Mark Berman went one-on-one with Jim Crane at Minute Maid before today's game. They touched on a little bit of everything, including JV. Here's what Jim Crane had to tell our Mark Berman just a short time ago.
Well, they're playing all right. I mean, I don't think we've hit our stride yet. Lost a few games, but played some great games. So I think we've got, a little work to do. I think the short spring training certainly has affected everybody. So I think our guys are being a little cautious and, resting them. And so, as things move along in the next month or two, I think you'll see them hit their stride. They'll start hitting the baseball.
What have you thought about the way Jeremy's gotten off to such a great start?
Well, he's playing great. I mean, you couldn't expect any more. I mean, he's had some great games already, three hit games already, and he's got a lot of talent. We knew that coming in, and we hope he keeps playing well. And certainly he's done that so far.
You get a chance to celebrate with your fans one more time the 2021 ALCS title. How special is that for you, Jim?
Well, tonight we'll give some rings. It's always, Dusty was saying in there a little while ago he didn't know how many rings he had. I can tell you how many we got. We've got 3 now, so two AL and 1 World Series. So we're not done yet. But it's always fun. It's not easy to win a ring, and hopefully this year we can get to the 6th time to the AL championship in a row. I don't think that's been done in a while. So that's our goal this year, and we'll get focused on that. And nice to get a ring tonight, and then we're going to go play some baseball.
What does that say about this organization? You've gone to 5 consecutive ALCS so far.
Well, a lot of hard work from the baseball operation, from the guys on the field, and then the management, the Dusty and the support we've gotten there. I mean, it's a team effort. I mean, they work hard. It's a good culture they have here in the locker room, and they don't like to lose. And I think you see that year in and year out the way they play.
What about what Justin Verlander has done so far?
Well, he's looking good. We hope he can keep that up. We don't want to overwork him a little bit, but he won 8 innings. That was pretty impressive yesterday. But he's here to play. He's been in shape he's been working hard, in the time he was down, and hopefully we can keep him healthy all year, and you can see how well he's doing, and he's done that in the past, so he's used to it. And he helps the locker room. He leads by example.
Given he's coming off of Tommy John, does he ever cease to amaze you what he's able to do?
No, I mean the technology in that operation now is pretty good. So sometimes they say the guys get better after that. So he certainly looks better right now. So we'll see how it goes for the rest of the year. But I'm happy he's here, and he's a great help in the locker room, and he's a good guy to have around.
If you could speak to Astros fans right now, what would you like to tell them, Jim?
Well, listen, I tell the people always talking about the payroll. Well, the payroll is driven by the fans. I mean, we got a full house tonight, a lot of revenue. They pay the bills. I just try to use the money wisely. But we have great fans. Thank you, Houston, for all your support. And, we're going to put a good product out there this year. And, if we got to make some adjustments at the turn, we certainly have the resources to do that. So we're going to have a great season, and we really appreciate your support.
Again, owner and chairman Jim Crane. We'll have more from him tonight on Fox 26 News at 9. We'll also have the latest highlights, which in the the top of the first inning was Luis Garcia. Struck out the side. They are still scoreless as the Astros are coming up to bat now, but only 15 pitches for Luis Garcia, and he was able to sit all 3 Halo batters down via the K. So we will have much more from opening day, the home opener at Minute Maid Park, coming up on Fox 26 News at 9. Coming up next week is the NFL draft. Of course, the Texans, as things stand right now, will be picking 3rd and 13th. Obviously, a lot can happen between now and Thursday night when the first round kicks off. Do the Texans move either of those picks, try to accumulate some more draft capital? What do they end up doing wherever they have to pick? We know that they have holes up and down the roster that they need to try to fill. So we'll get into the draft and the Texans prognosis in more detail next week. We will also, though, get our first chance to see the Texans in action, because now that players are allowed inside team facilities and everybody's offseason program has officially begun, the Texans will hold their first voluntary mini camp scheduled for next week. And as always, all eyes are on the QB position. And thus far, everybody's had nothing but good things to say about Davis Mills, who enters his 2nd NFL season firmly entrenched as the team starter, and that is the plan, and that is what they're going to try to build around in this first real draft, where there is a full complement of picks for Nick Caserio and company. We got our first chance to speak with Davis Mills and some of his teammates a few days ago up at NRG Stadium. Here's Mark Berman on how that went and what everybody had to say about the signal caller out of Stanford.
Lovie Smith has already made it clear Davis Mills is his quarterback. One of the next steps for Davis is to grow into a leader for the Texans, and not just for the offense, but the entire team.
I'm definitely comfortable. I think the biggest thing with being a leader for the team just starts with showing up every day, showing the team that you're here to put in work. I think people mention a lot just the quarterback's role as a vocal leader, and I think that comes with the position, so I've been doing that my whole life. So I'm ready for that challenge and that standpoint of it. But, the biggest thing is just going out and showing up every day, in meeting rooms, weight room, on the field, and gaining the respect of my teammates so I can really take on that role.
To that end, Mills organized workouts this offseason with some of his teammates.
It was great. We had them recently, over a handful of guys out in Atlanta at my high school. just brought people together to get some work and really just continue to build that chemistry and show everyone that it's more than football. We're out here enjoying our time together and just continuing to grow together. And the biggest cliche one is like just leading by example. I think that actually plays. People say like that's not a true form of a leader because they're not stepping up and being vocal for the team, but I think it starts with kind of leading by example and showing people you're there to work. But then when the moment presents itself, being able to step up and be a vocal leader, hold someone accountable, be able to get held accountable yourself, and kind of see how the team responds and rallies around that.
Center Justin Britt saw Davis's leadership skills emerge last season as a rookie.
You could look back at the end of the year and compared to whenever he came in Cleveland, the way he went about it, the calmness he had towards the end of the year. And what was it, Tennessee, we started the first half terribly, right? And then we come back and we should have won the game, I'd argue. So, that talks about his leadership, his calmness, his work ethic, his competitiveness. And that's just kind of what we all want to be, offensively, defensively.
We started playing our best football at the end of last year, and I think everyone kind of felt that, and everyone came back hungrier this offseason, so we're ready to attack.
With Davis Mills leading the way.
And again, the first voluntary minicamp scheduled for next week, starting on Tuesday up at NRG. But the Texans coaches all said because thus far this part of the offseason is voluntary, they've had almost close to perfect attendance or a very high number of players voluntarily staying in Houston or making the trek back to NRG to start taking parts in workouts with coaches, with trainers in the team facility. And so we will see how things progress. And again, much more next Monday night. We'll really dive deeper into the NFL draft and the bevy of options that are before the Houston Texans. If you do want to see actual football games right now, though, as always, Fox 26 is your home for the USFL, which officially kicked off this weekend. A couple of nail-biters going down to the final play of the game. The Houston Gamblers coming away with a win in their opener, beating the Michigan Panthers 17-12 yesterday. It was a defensive effort that got it done for Houston. 3 takeaways, including a 95-yard scoop and score that set the tone. They jumped out to a 17-0 lead and then were able to hold on as Michigan made its late rally. But a familiar face leading the Gamblers, Kevin Sumlin, who had nothing but good things to say about the start of this new venture, the USFL, and certainly his team coming away 1-0 after week 1.
That locker room was excited. Anytime you win, winning's not easy, and particularly in the fashion we did it. But I think the exciting part is that we can play better. And just like I said to our team, and our guys know it. I mean, they were not looking at me. They were nodding their heads. There's a lot of things we can do better as coaches, including myself. There's a lot of things our team can do better. And I pointed those things out. But I think, it was a great learning and teaching moment, particularly when you win. It kind of sets the tone and gives you some added energy going into next week on a short week. But I look forward to this week and us improving as a football team. And we talked about it all week last week. It was about us. We didn't know. There was no real video evidence of what Michigan was going to do. They didn't know what we were going to do. So it was, it was about execution and we or lack thereof, and those things you can improve on particularly from game 1 to game 2. And we found out some things about some players. We found out some things about our team, and that's a learning experience for everybody. But certainly, for us for the Houston Gambler name, we couldn't be happier to win today.
And the Gamblers will be back at it on Saturday night. That's why Coach Sumlin referring to the short week. They will play Saturday at 6 o'clock. You can watch that game on FS1, but the big game on Saturday that we'll have for you on Fox 26 beginning at 11 o'clock is the Pittsburgh Maulers, taking on the Philadelphia Stars. All right, one last check of where things stand at Minute Maid, and oh, look at that. Just as I flip over, Yordan Alvarez has flipped his bat because he has sent one over the right field wall. It is a 2-run shot for the big fella in his first game back. So right now, 2-0 Houston as the bottom of the first, Stros are playing. So we'll have those highlights and much more from Minute Maid coming up for you tonight on Fox 26 News at 9. As always, for the most up-to-the-minute news, scores, updates, stories, anything you want to know in the Houston sports scene, make sure you are following our sports director, Mark Berman. You can find him on Twitter, his handle at Mark Berman, Fox 26. For all of us here at Fox 26, I'm Sal Manine. We'll see you again next Monday, just after 7 o'clock. You've been watching the Fox 26 Sports Stream. Take care, everyone.